So here's last Sunday's message in 2 minutes-ish. Last Sunday, we looked at the historical account of Balaam's donkey, and a very, popular Bible account of, something that happened in the past. But I wanted to look at specifically what is that story really about, more so than just the fact that a donkey talked. So to back it all the way up, we start in Numbers 22, and it's where Israel was encamped just across the Jordan River, about to go into the promised land, and God has told them to leave the Moabites alone. When they cross the river, they're going to take out Jericho, but leave the Moabites alone and continue on. And they've just defeated the Amalekites. Well, the king of Moab, Balak, is concerned because he just saw them take out the Amalekites. He doesn't know that they're supposed to leave them alone. And so he goes and hires this prophet for hire named Balaam to come out and curse Israel. And through a series of events, he convinces him to do this. And on the way, the donkey sees an angel. The donkey that Balaam is riding sees an angel, stops. Balaam ends up beating his donkey, trying to get him to move on. And then finally the donkey's like, "Hey, why are you beating me, dude?" And Balaam's like, because you're not behaving like you should. And the donkey's like, "That should tell you something, that I'm not behaving like I should." And Balaam's like, "Yeah, probably so." And then the angel shows himself, and it moves on from there. The point of the talking donkey is because Balaam fancied himself a seer. He's this prophet who can see into the supernatural. And God was showing him that God was in control, that he cannot manipulate God to do anything. He can't force God to curse Israel if God wants to bless Israel. He can't make God do anything. And in fact, God's in full control of the supernatural, so much so that he allows a donkey to see the angel before Balaam can see the angel, which had to be embarrassing for someone who considers themselves a seer. That, hey, your donkey's doing a better job at your job than you are. So, and then, of course, the donkey talks, which is very supernatural. And Balaam is, realizing that, hey, God is far more powerful than he is. He can't control the supernatural, but God can. So then finally, when it comes time, he gets out to the place where Balak is like, "Go ahead and curse Israel." He ends up blessing Israel. In fact, he ends up blessing Israel 3 times. And Balak is like, "Dude, you're fired. I told you to curse them, but you've blessed them 3 times. And then he gives them a 4th blessing. And so finally, at the end of this account, Balaam is like, "Look, I can't force God to curse Israel when he desires to bless them, but here's what we can do." And he gives them this plan of seducing Israel into both harlotry and into idolatry. And that ends up causing a plague to come onto Israel through the discipline of God. It's finally broken. But here's the point of everything. At the beginning of this account, Israel is walking in the blessing of God. Balaam is doing just fine. And Moab is under the protection of God. But then Balaam convinces Moab to seduce Israel into sin. And because Balaam institutes it, because Moab participates, because Israel sins, Israel comes under the curse. Balaam is killed and Moab is destroyed in the war. Here's the thing. God is on your side. God is for you. Your default position before God as a child of God is walking in his blessing. But you know what will take you from blessing to discipline real quick? Direct disobedience. As soon as everyone was in disobedience to God, it brought the discipline of God, and it brought it swift and it brought it hard. And I'm just telling you, yes, God wants us to be blessed, and he's on our side and he's for us. But when we walk in direct disobedience, it invites his discipline to us. And we don't want that. We just want to be like, just be obedient, delight in him, find your joy and your strength in him. And that is key to walking in blessing and walking in victory. All right. That's it. Bye.